Hey folks, Rick Berube here. Just me today over here at corporate headquarters in Las Vegas, Nevada. Okay, at St. Rose office, third floor. Anyway, I'm coming here today to just give you guys some points to think about in today's changing market. All right, so I'm sure you've heard it. You know, one thing, I just did a quick video on two things. Number one, do your job every day. You know, you have to, these are Bill Belichick points, by the way. NFL football practice just starting up. And I thought, what a great time, because I love his simple thoughts. One of them is, do your job. Don't worry about everybody else. Don't worry about what they're doing. Stay in your lane, do your job. You know what your daily schedule is every day. You know what you should be doing. I would recommend you do that, even maybe a little more aggressive, on purpose, intention, assumptively, every single day right now. Okay? Second one is eliminate the noise. To me, the noise is the media, and I think to Bill Belichick too. It's distracting. They're going to sensationalize this market. You know, the new numbers are going to be coming out. We're going to have 2 quarters in a row now. At the end of June, we're going to have the first quarter and the second quarter with no economic growth. And that's technically a recession. So you're going to hear that. You're going to hear a lot of that. We're in a recession. Warning. All right, so don't buy into the hype. It doesn't mean a real estate recession. It means an economic. And it's really, you know, it's just the beginning, because things will probably end up, you know, interest rates will probably go a little higher. You know, there's going to be a lot of goodies going on, but the market, you know, our inventory's climbing, but the market right now is still way in the seller's market category, all right, way in there, or at least seller's advantage. You know, it takes about, right now in Vegas, it's probably about 1.2 to 1.3 months of inventory on the market based on how many are selling. Same with Arizona, and California is probably even a little less. It would have to be at least 3 to 4 times, depending on who you talk to, 3 to 4 times that amount on the market for it to become a even market, never mind even hinting towards a buyer's market. So how do we do this? Okay, the number one thing I think you need to do is start every day from zero. You have no listings today. I mean, what have you done today? What have you done today in order to make your real estate life better? You know, have you talked to any sellers, buyers, you know, all that good stuff. So start every day at zero. Pretend, you know, you are unemployed. You're seeking, you know, a job interview every single day in real estate. That's what you're doing. All right. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. Bill Velto Mayor Bill is watching. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. I like when it's like this and I can see it, because I can see the comments right away, as opposed to doing it in Paul's wonderful studio, which is great. Okay, so, you know, start every day at zero. You know, you have to, that's your mindset, meaning that, you know, today, what have you created? You're an independent contractor. You're a solo entrepreneur. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself with this company. All right, so you need to, you know, go out there and find it every day. You are a hunter. Go out and hunt. That's your job. All right, find, as a matter of fact, that's what I used to call it when I was selling, in the hunt mentality. You're talking to people and your thought is, are you my next listing? Are you my next sale? But you obviously start off by building rapport with people. Find out what's going on with them. Ask a lot of questions. Dig deeper. Okay, but understand that every day you need to create new business in your business if you want to maximize its existence, called real estate. Okay, so that's number one. Number two on my list is your database is your gold mine. While you're out there every day, starting from zero, creating new opportunities, prospecting, talking to people, doing, you know, you're also filling your database. All right, so you have a tremendous tool at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of Arizona, California, Nevada, called the VAC 2.0. The VAC 2.0 is your CRM. And you're going to load it with people and set them up on auto drips, like neighborhood reports, market reports, the newsletters, buy-side reports. There's all kinds of things that you can use in there to keep people informed as to what's going on. And more importantly, remind them that you are their realtor. Okay? You know, I think when it comes to your CRM, you need to be super assumptive with people. You talk as if. You talk as if you're a realtor. You talk as if they do anything, they're going to use you. Okay, it's very simple. All right, it's very simple. You just need to be in the game every single day. So make sure your database is up to date, make sure they're getting good stuff, and make sure you are following up completely. Okay, outwork your competition. Okay, so look at this. We've gone from the best year ever in the history of real estate, 2021, into probably one of the second or third best years ever in real estate called 2022. Okay, what will work for you in 2022 will be different than what worked in 2021. Okay, meaning that you're not going to get multiple offers in 7 minutes. You might get 2 offers in 7 or 14 days. Even if the average days on market goes to 30, that's not bad. Now, remember the days where you would take a listing and they would buy one of your other listings contingent upon the sale of that? You're going to see things like that happening, and Dynamite Realtors know how to do that. And if you don't know how to do that, figure it out. You have to talk to your managers, and you'll have to do a couple. But especially people who've only been in the business 2-3 years, this is going to be a new market to them. Now, okay, so make sure that you're outworking your company, meaning that, whatever your, and I know I'm a broken record about this, but whatever your contact goal is per day, like how many people you're supposed to be talking to, beef it up a little bit. Talking to more people doesn't hurt. I mean, you're in the people business. Why is it that when I talk about prospecting, sometimes it feels like I'm talking about having a root canal without Novocaine. It's really nowhere near that bad. You need to be out there talking to people, becoming a super people person, all right? And, definitely following up on the ones that are motivated and loading up everybody else. You don't have to load everybody into your VAC 2.0, just people you plan on working with, like your sphere, like your farming area, or even the area of people that you're talking to, okay? So I would definitely decide what that work is going to be if you don't already know. Like if you're not following, if you've been listening to me or you're in my coaching and you don't have a disciplined schedule that you follow that's pretty much the same every day, you're not maximizing this existence called real estate. It's like I go to the gym, but I don't have a workout schedule. Well, what do you do there? Do you leave the gym soaking wet? Then it's working. If you don't, it's not. Okay, so you should have, a written out workout that you check with. Your job needs to be the same way with a schedule. You need to know exactly what you're going to be doing. I mean, it's you have to have purpose. You have to know what the end result is. You have to have a plan, a goal. Like every day, the last few years of real estate before I became a full-time coach, I had a few affirmations I would say to myself. One of them is, I talk to 25 people every day. That was my contact goal. It wasn't at first, it was 50 at first. All right, but then I had a sphere and people, so you'll get more efficient at this. I talk to 25 people every day. I set 2 appointments. I write 1 contract. That was in my head all day, every day. All right, then I had other ones for my health, for my spirituality, for my family, I had other affirmations that I would chant to myself, not all day, but a few times a day. I think when you set the GPS in the brain, you're more apt to get to the destination. No GPS, no destination. You can't just go west. That's not a destination, that's a direction. You need to have a destination. You need to put in, I remember when I first moved to Las Vegas, the GPSs aren't what they are today. I'd have to put in the zip code too. Okay, so put in the address, put in the zip code, just like you were sending a letter. And it gets there most of the time with the US mail. But that's the way you have to be talking to yourself. That's the way you have to have in your mind. Otherwise, if you don't have a goal, then it doesn't really matter where you end up. And that's the way your psyche works, really. So you have a goal, you're reminding yourself of what it is every single day. And then even at an unconscious level, your activities are going to change. And if you see people you haven't seen in months or years and they say to you, you've changed, that's good. That's good. As long as they mean it in a good way. All right. So number 1, start every day at 0. You have no goal. You have no business. You have nothing going on today. Create some. Number 2 is your database is your gold mine. You guys have a tremendous tool here. And then outwork your competition. And I just explained a whole bunch of ways you could do that. My 4th point is semi-stalker lead follow-up. Once you have somebody in your system, The person who shows them that they're the most interested in getting their business is usually the person who gets it. Because eventually they say to themselves, well, we do want a salesperson selling this. And by the way, sales, the ability to act, be, talk, walk like a salesperson is going to become more important in this market. Fogging a mirror with condensation, because you have a pulse, is no longer going to be adequate. Or, hey, I'll take it for less commission is no longer going to be a really good presentation for people, all right? When the market changes a little bit, and it's not going to change drastically, so don't get worried about that. But when it changes even a little bit, people overreact. It's what I'm saying right now is, that little saying, denial is not just a river in Egypt. A lot of agents are in denial about the market change. A lot of sellers are. And it's your job to be brutally honest with them. So semi-stalker lead follow-up means I'm following up. Whatever they tell me, I cut in half or less. Call me back in 2 months. You call me back in like 3 weeks. And then you're following up and following up. And whenever you decide to put somebody into your lead follow-up system, you're obviously handwriting a note, sending it to them, calling them a few days later, make sure they got it, put a few business cards in there too. People open handwritten stuff. They just do. All right. And then whatever they say, if they say, call me back in 2 months, you call them back in like 2-3 weeks and then say, hey, just checking in to make sure your time frame is still the same. And then you call them again and again and so forth. So showing them that you are interested in getting their business is a way to get their business. Makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, and then the next one says, become an expert. Become an expert on real estate. Be the most educated person in the room about what you do for work. Meaning that what's the average sale price right now? What's the median sale price right now in your market? Okay, you should know that. Vegas is right around $500,000, okay? They're different. One is like 4 something, the other one's 5 something, right? So you have to know what those numbers are. What's the days on market? What's the active inventory? Right? You should know all these things. So when you're on a listing presentation or you're working with your buyers, you can quote them. Are you an expert at presenting your listing presentation? Right? That's very important. Right? Like, do you present the same listing presentation almost every time with the only difference is them and the property. Everything else should be pretty much exactly the same. Like, what are you going to use out of the VAC as far as your brand goes? What questions are you going to ask? I teach this all in Success Series, but I know a lot of you have your own way of doing it. As long as it's a scripted way, and meaning that you've practiced it and you know what you're going to say, you know the direction, you know how you start, you know how you finish, you know what's in the middle. Okay, and I'll give you one tip on a listing presentation. When you present the CMA, don't tell them, ask them. Put it in front of them and ask them questions like, do you know where this property is? Where is that one? Oh yeah, on Oak Street. And how many bedrooms does it have? And all the answers, all the questions I'm going to ask them, I have the answers highlighted on there, so it's very easy for them to follow. I want them to be involved. Okay, I want them to be involved. Okay, like I'm going to give you an example. If I was on a listing presentation today and someone said to me, okay, well, look, there's a house down the street that sold for, $1.5 million, right? It sold for $1.5 million. I'm going to go through it with them. Yeah, but look, this one was completely remodeled. Yours is not. This one, your home is 15 years old, original. It's beautiful, but it's original. That one's 15 years old, but it's been totally redone. That has a lot of value to it. Okay, now look here. It sold 9 months ago. They were asking 1.2 and it sold for 1.5. That's why it sold for 1.5. So we can't go, oh, well, that one sold for 1.5. Let's go at 1.5. No, there's a process that happens there that allows that home to sell for over what it's actually worth, because when you put it at a really good price, otherwise known as what it's worth today, you put it at that price, everybody has to have it, okay? It becomes like everybody gets emotionally attached to it, then they all want to have it, and then guess what happens when everybody wants it? Then they're willing, their decision, to up the price. Okay, so if you take that process out of, that game out of the process, you're not going to get the same thing. You just can't accept it. You can't expect that to happen. So you need to spend the time and explain that. Or you can be lazy and just take it at a price, reduce it, and then eventually sell it if you get the listing for long enough, but you're not doing the seller a service by doing that, because you've devalued the property if you do it that way. Where your fiduciary responsibility says, let's tell them the truth. Now, there's a way to backdoor into this. You could say, okay, 1.5, yep, we have a closing at 1.5, sign all the listings, and then you could say, but I have this thought, I want to run this by you. Then you can explain the process I just went through. If they still want to go at the exact number, fine, but I would recommend that they start a little bit more aggressive than that so they end up getting more. There's never been a time in the history of real estate where sellers and buyers are more educated than now. You can't hide what your home is worth. You can't fool people. You can't say, well, that house sold for $300,000 over. I want to get 300. But they followed a process. If you're willing to follow the process, you might. Okay, so you have to be brutally honest with people about the process so they can maximize the value. If I was selling my home today, that's what I would do. And I would tell them that. Okay, I was talking with someone on the phone this morning, one of my coaching calls, and I was going through that process, and he had made a little mistake on that, and it was 5 days after it listed, and I said, call them back, bring over all this information, go through, and if they're not willing to come down, you'd better off having it withdrawn than, especially in his farming area, his neighborhood, or then an expired that you've been tortured for 9 months, for 6 to 9 months before it doesn't sell and it expires. Okay, so we're in that, it's an interesting market where you put it at the right price, it's going to sell. And a lot of times it needs to be updated and the HGTV, period that we're in says, house got to look good if you want top dollar. Now, if you want to sell it and give somebody a deal and let them do it, well, that's a different thing, but you can't sell it at top value if you do that. So which would you like to do? Okay, so, just be brutally honest with people based on what's happening, and, okay, it'll, you'll end up getting them the most they can for the property, or letting somebody else waste their time, having expired, and devalue a seller's home, which should not be your job. It isn't your job. Okay, so here we go. Start every day at 0. You have no listings today. You have no sales. Today, Tuesday. Okay, what have you done today, okay, to maximize your career? 2 is your database is your gold mine. Make sure you're adding people every week. I would say even every day to your database, because if you're talking to people, you're adding people to your database. Not complicated. Outwork your competition. Do what you're supposed to be doing right now, like I was saying. I started with the Bill Belichick quote, right? Do your job every single day and eliminate the noise, otherwise known as the media, right? The media cracks me up today. They're just they actually think you believe them. And some people do, unfortunately. It's really crazy. Okay, and the next one says, semi-stalker lead follow-up. Once you create a lead, follow-up. They'll tell you if it's too much. But remember, every time you're calling, even if they're not answering, it's working because they're seeing that you're qualifying for a job. You're being consistent. If they're motivated, that's good. If they're not motivated, it's irritating. So it's really a natural filtration process. And then the last one is be an expert on real estate. You should be the most educated person in the room about real estate. That's why they'd use you. In all the stats I gave you as far as days on market, average list to sale price, what's the active inventory as we speak, all that good stuff. And listen, most of our MLSs, it's doubled in the last 2-3 months. It's still at less than 2 months, but most of us less than a month and a half, but it's definitely gone up. Now, I don't think that'll continue at that pace, but it's definitely going to continue to tick up in the days on market, which actually for you, the prospecting, proactive real estate salesperson extraordinaire, is real good. So get excited about it. Let all your competition and the media sensationalize this into worse than it is, and you just capitalize on it by doing these things. Okay, guys, keep it rocking. Hope to see you soon. I will be in California next week, Rancho Cucamonga on the 21st, all day. I will be at Gina's office in the desert, okay, on the 22nd and the 23rd. I will be at the Menifee new office all day as well. So hope to see you guys there. Thank you.